Hi, everyone. Well, I'm making a live reaction vid here. The Other Shoe just dropped. This morning, I watch a Our Boy Zach video roasting Gail Simone's Plastic Man #3, and it occurs to me that if trans activists read Gail Simone's comics that much, she would probably be getting some blowback for a transphobic joke featuring the character Plastic Man disguising himself as a woman and pretending to be Harley Quinn. So, what do I see when I open up Twitter? Diversity in comics. They're eating each other. And he links to Gail Simone's very serious tweet thread. And right here at the top, Ted S. Carpus says, #1 Marmaduke fan called this. And I write, barks with evil laughter. Oh my gosh. I thought, sure, maybe a few activists would notice this and maybe they'd get on Gail's case, but I did not expect this to happen within a few hours of me talking about it. So I'm going to read Gail Simone's tweet thread, and I'm going to explain why even now she's missed the gravity of what she has done if we look at it through the lens of intersectional feminism and its commitment to fighting transphobia. She writes, "Okay, I have a serious thing to address. Please forgive me if I am still trying to put my thoughts together. It's regarding Plastic Man. Please also keep in mind that this series had an unusually long delay between being written and being printed, so my memory is a little hazy. This isn't a joke thread, it's a serious issue to a lot of people, and I want to try to get it right. In issue 3 of Plastic Man, he briefly imitates Harley Quinn. In one panel, he clearly has a bit of a bulge despite being otherwise being a pretty clear match for Harley. Now, my read on the scene is one thing. Plas has been imitating other characters for 70 years. He's poked fun at Wonder Woman, Iron Man, My Little Pony, and the Transformers in this series alone. To me, that's the fun. He makes fun of characters more popular than he is. And for me, it's important to note that he doesn't become those characters, he imitates them. He's still himself, even pretending to be Wonder Woman. However, some dear trans friends have pointed out to me that the scene reads entirely differently to them. There is a common bleep, she uses the S word, trope out there floating around, and in fiction too, about trans people tricking or luring unsuspecting people. It's a bleep garbage myth, and it's gross and disgusting. So the tropes versus women, tropes versus trans women. The trope I think she's referring to is in fiction where the character is dating what looks like a beautiful woman, and then surprise, surprise, it was a man the whole time. Or in manga, where that's almost like a whole subgenre of manga, where the beautiful princess at the school was secretly a boy the whole time. I think that's the trope that people find transphobic. And it might also be referring to a real life idea where there's like this notion that trans people are constantly trying to trick or deceive people into sex. Now, the funny thing is, while I was reading up just some basic articles on transphobia, I found one that said that a trans person has the right to lie or say whatever they want while dating. They don't have to disclose that they're trans while dating. I don't think they have to disclose that as a matter of law, but come on, it's sort of like a basic courtesy. So the funny thing is that if there's a trope about trans people deceiving people and not disclosing that they're actually trans in order to date them or trick them into dating them, there's also an element of the trans activist movement that believes that you should be doing that, and to react in surprise that someone is trans that you were dating, that itself is transphobic. But for now, let's focus on the trope within fiction. And some people read that page as Plastic Man perpetuating that effing trope, trying to seduce Man-Bat. What I meant is a little fun poke at the character I like a lot. Harley Quinn reads very differently to the people who have to live with this trash myth. So Gail Simone is virtue signaling hard. She wants absolutely no doubt that she finds the transphobic trope deeply problematic and disgusting and evil. Now, here's the thing, Gail. I really don't want to take pleasure in someone being cannibalized by SJWs, but the last conversation I had with Gail Simone, she was lecturing comic book fans who were critical of her first issue of Plastic Man, which featured a man on the cover in a pool of blood. I have no problem with crime drama in comic books, but the question is, if Gail Simone believes in a feminist perspective on violence against women in comics, isn't there a moral argument to be made that she should therefore diminish violence against male and female characters in her comics? And she, of course, came back with the most condescending drivel ever, insulting the intelligence of the poor guys who were just maybe inarticulately trying to point out a inconsistency in Gail Simone's philosophy. If Gail Simone wasn't always so condescending and petty and holier than thou, I wouldn't find this funny. But as it is, it couldn't couldn't have happened to a better ally. That's all I've got to say. So I didn't pick up the aspect of Plastic Man trying to seduce Man-Bat. What I think Gail Simone has missed is, even if there wasn't this seduction aspect to it, even if it was just Plastic Man all by himself pretending to be Harley Quinn, that scene could still be read as transphobic to anyone who thinks that any instance of a cis male character playing the femme or pretending to be femme or wearing a dress for comedic purposes, all of those are seen as transphobic because you are treating a man dressed as a woman for laughs. Gail Simone is literally worse than Diversity in Comics, Man in a Wig comment. They're the same thing. They're the same moral thing. If you find it immoral for Diversity in Comics to say Man in a Wig, that was the joke in Gail Simone's comic book. Are you secretly one of the Cop Squad, Gail? I'm sorry. I know people can read the same scene differently. All I can say is, with 100% surety, that was absolutely not my intention. It would never even cross my mind. The trans community gets far too much bleep already. But that isn't really important. What's important here is the trans community. And to them, I'm sorry for this page. So, apologizing for the page, we're going to try to get it adjusted for the trade paperback. What does that mean? All right, I didn't buy Plastic Man. Zach bought it to roast it. I don't really care much for chatty catty, let's wang it kind of sense of humor that Gail Simone is adding to the book. But I like the art from it. Are we going to censor the Plastic Man issue now for the trade paperback to appease these people who are giving Gail Simone grief? That sounds like what she's suggesting. How are you going to try to get this book adjusted, Gail? Plastic Man's emotional core in this series is trying to protect a gender-fluid kid. The last thing I want to do is hurt or poke fun at trans people. Well, Gail, I don't know. Maybe in the midst of you trying to write the story of Plastic Man protecting a gender-fluid kid, you should have done a Google search on what people think is transphobic in entertainment and television and media. Man, okay, so my original thesis was, I didn't understand why Gail Simone would have done that. It seemed to me that if she was as woke as she claimed to be, she surely would have known that a scene like Plastic Man disguising himself as Harley Quinn would have gotten her a boatload of accusations of transphobia. So the impression I'm getting now is that she sincerely did not know that this was a thing in trans activism. She does all the cool hashtags. She's writing a comic book about Plastic Man protecting a gender-fluid kid to show how woke she is. But she hasn't Googled transphobia. And I do appreciate the friends who voiced their concern. I will do better. Oh man, hold on. Gail Simone, I'm never buying one of your crappy comic books as long as I live. You joke.
Oh, is that right? Well, I sure hope somebody picks up that phone. Because I f***ing called it.
I'm #1 Marmaduke fan. I love you guys. Yes! I'm archiving this forever. Okay. Catch you later. Oh, man.